Hey guys, third fan of the night.
Third fan of the night.
So this is Rick's fan. I'll let him talk to you about it first, and then I'll say a few things.
All right.
For behind the scenes footage, go to patreon.com slash in all directions dspiffy
Forward slash.
forward slash.
Okay, so this is a Dayton industrial. We've heard these referred to as the flower pot Dayton, the day turd if you're Chandru. These are a really common. I mean, you see them in Home Depots. It's a really common industrial, especially in the 2000s era. This one is unique in that it is reversible. If you can't tell by the blades, they are double contoured. They have pitch to both sides, which is kind of unusual for an industrial. And this one was a habitat find from a while ago, and I've been meaning to test it. I just figured this was the perfect environment because it's a metal type of fan, perfect for testing in the barn. And it is from, I believe, 2008. But they made these. When did these come out? Like late 90s?
Early 90s. 91,
okay.
I think maybe, 90, 91.
Okay.
Go to my workbench video on leading edge if you want to know the exact year, and I'll tell more about that when Rick's done talking.
Right, and I mean, so these have been around. One pretty significant install of these that I remember was my own high school. They had the pool was built, I think, in the mid 90s, maybe early mid 90s. And they had a row of these way up high, and I was dumb back then. I mean, I guess I am now too, but
yes, he is.
Back then, I didn't really knew. It just looked like an industrial. I didn't really know like specific things on industrial ceiling fans at the time. But I remember looking up at them and was like, those seem like they're good fans. I mean, because you could feel them, and they were all on their factory down rods way up high, much like what's above it. And I was wondering what they were, and then after getting into collecting, I was like, okay, yeah, these are those Daytons. Those ones were slightly different in that the upper canopy was actually the same as the lower canopy, and that was indicative of it being a moisture resistant.
If it was actually the same as opposed to there's a different version.
Well, it's the one that's like more of it looked a lot like that.
Well, let me ask you this question: the stripe in the center, where it's silver on this one, was it black?
Yes, it was black.
Then those are the agricultural versions, and yes, they have the same upper and lower canopy, and it's slightly larger than the lower canopy on this, but it's the same shape.
Okay, yeah. So that was the exact version that it had, but again, this is close.
There are, I think, technically 4 different canopy shapes for these.
Okay, this is the one that I see in Home Depot usually, like that type of canopy.
Yeah. You have more to say?
No, and that's pretty much it. I was glad to find one of these. I was very shocked that something like this would end up being put out for sale at Habitat.
Yeah, they would normally scrap something like this, so I'm glad to see that.
That was a cool find. So yeah, no, that's about all I got to say.
So these are actually, Dayton is the relabel for Granger, but these were actually made by Leading Edge. The factory name was Husan of Thailand. And after Leading Edge, after the Weatherite factory shut down in Hong Kong in the late 80s, or early, maybe, I can't remember exactly. Again, look at my Leading Edge workbench video if you want to know the exact year. But when the Weatherite factory shut down, Leading Edge went to Husan in Thailand. And I spoke to the owner of Leading Edge, and he was very serious about the quality of his fans, and he was very particular about which factories would make his fans, and only Weatherite was good enough to make them until Weatherite went out of business, and he searched high and low for the only other factory that was good enough to make his fans, and he was just very, very proud of them. He personally designed these blades because they are the only. I mean, I'll give him credit for that. These are the only metal commercial fan blade that is equally powerful in forward and reverse. And if you look at the way it's designed, you can see how they did that.
It's kind of shaped like a Z if you look at it from the side. Like there's the side.
Yeah.
No matter which direction it goes, there's going to be one bent up and one bent down. I mean, on either side of the blade. So it works out.
So I'm old enough to remember when these were first introduced, and actually the first place I saw them, ironically, was Toys R Us, because there was a Toys R Us near my house was remodeled, and they put all of these in, I think the 48-inch size. Mm-hmm. And I was impressed then because they were up on a high ceiling, like you said, on the factory down rod, and you could always feel a direct breeze right under them. So I thought that was pretty impressive. I kind of got tired of them over the years because they replaced so many other fans that I loved. So Granger was definitely the biggest supplier of commercial fans around here. So anybody who needed a commercial van would just go to Granger, and they would definitely get these and just replace whatever. But then also Leading Edge had direct contracts with Home Depot and Toys R Us and a few other chains. So I mean, there's a reason why we see so many of these.
Yeah.
And
I mean, can you still buy a similar version of it today? I mean,
I don't know because so Marley bought Leading Edge.
mm-hmm.
Marley still has these pictured on their website.
Right.
Is Marley still getting the same fans from Husan in Thailand? I don't know. A few years ago, Granger stopped using Marley as their supplier, and they now have a Chinese company. I don't know who it is. It looks like the same company that supplies Canarm and TPI and Banville and all the other companies. They look pretty generic. Westinghouse maybe. Same, you know, and that's when you see those with the red stripe. So I don't know anybody that's actually ordered direct from Marley. If you call up Marley, they'd probably tell you, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If they still have the made in, I wouldn't imply that somebody else makes their fans, but I would.
Right. But
hey, do you still have those made in Thailand industrial fans? You know, and if so, where can I buy them? So I mean, credit where credit is due. These are as powerful an industrial fan as anything else. The reason why we don't necessarily like them is because they have a little higher failure rate than EnviroFan, simply because traditionally they draw more current, which means more heat, which means the bearings fail sooner, which is why you see a lot of these with bad bearings. However, when we did our preliminary test on this one, it did not draw anywhere near the current draw that I was expecting. So I don't know. I was going to say we should test the capacitor, but Rick said the high speed looks about normal to him, and I'll take his word for that. So it may be, you know, just a matter of a stamped motor versus a cast motor and heat dissipation. It may not be as much of a current draw issue. Again, the 60-inch versions of these are monsters, and I wouldn't mind having a 60-inch one just for the sake of having a monster.
Yeah.
And of course, we all want a 72-inch version.
Oh man.
But I've never seen the 72-inch cast version. I've seen 2 different installs of the 72-inch stamped version. So, okay, let's. We ready to do 0 to high? We think it's gonna be what kind of inrush, Rick?
I'm gonna say small inrush.
I'll say big.
All right.
Okay. Oh, I think we both got it wrong.
No inrush. Really? Okay.
Well, when we did our preliminary test before, just to see if it was balanced, are we going to talk about why it may have needed balancing, or are we going to leave that off camera?
I'll be generic about it. I might have meddled something by accidentally hitting the ladder into one of the blades when I was testing it last time. So I called in the help of Dan and his metalness, and they were able to fix the blade like damn near perfectly. I mean, look at that; it's not wobbling at all.
No. Pete gets most of the credit. I will tell you what happened because I'm a little amused at myself, or however you want to put it. Heck of an airflow on these.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sitting. We're sitting a good distance away, and I feel
it climbed as it got up to speed. It's still climbing actually. Power factor of 1, which is considered a good thing in commercial installs.
Yeah.
So that was probably another thing that was. I bet you anything I could ask Mr. Leading Edge. But I bet you anything it was a conscious decision to have a power factor of 1 because commercial installers, that's very important to them because some commercial in some commercial installs and industrial installs, the power company will penalize you for having a low power factor.
Right, because the power company prefers straight
power factor of 1 because then when they're measuring on wattage, they're measuring
Right.
But it's also better for planning circuits if the amperage and wattage equal out.
Basically wasting less, it's more useful electricity that's going to
pretty much. So, yeah, I'll tell my side of the blade story, but why don't you get some measurements first?
Yeah, okay, so let's...
0.73 is our high, by the way.
Okay, so let's have a look here.
I'm very curious to see what the CFM does on this.
All right, let's see. Start with...
Yeah, that's beautifully balanced.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't even want to see how mangled it was. We should have shown. We should have taken a picture or something.
Okay, so I'm getting a very clean 891.
297 makes sense.
So close to 300, yeah.
Yep. Seems about right because it's just a hair slower than like these have really beefy, thick, wide blades, so it makes sense that they'd be a hair slower than a gold line, which is a little bit more based on speed.
All right. One more truth. Now it's going to be interesting where it gets a better read.
Yeah.
It's definitely better toward the close to the end of the mount point.
56 divided by 24.
629 is the highest I'm getting.
I feel like another fan did 629. That number sounds familiar to me.
That might have been the. Or was that the Hampton Bay?
No, Hampton Bay was 11 something, I thought.
Yeah.
This is 10,759. So it's I can't remember what I wish we did test some gold lines. I don't remember what those were now. Those were in the same range,
That's
I
probably,
think.
Yeah, that's got to be the same ballpark, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean that holds up. I mean that's.
Yeah. About 10,750 is where we're at. 759, so 10,760, I guess, if we're rounding.
Right.
Yeah, solid.
Really solid runner. I mean, like I said, the balance. I presume it was pretty good before. I mean, whatever they.
It looked, yeah.
It
No,
looked perfect, honestly.
I'm pretty sure I saw it running before it got ricked. Time for spin down?
Yeah. Spin down.
Are you going to show it in reverse or no?
Yeah, I would. Let's do that at the end, just
Okay.
as a bonus.
Okay.
Patreon only.
Patreon only, sure.
Reverse.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I think I'll just let the camera run.
Yeah.
But so Pete, obviously Pete's very good at bending metal. It's in his name, so of course he would
He
be.
knows how to control the metal.
Yes. Oh, Andy left his cup too. Andy.
Oh.
And not Andy. Andy Worley left his
Worley.
cup and his GoPro. I think I'm just gonna leave them right where they are.
if he's gonna-
Nobody else comes in here.
Except the sheep, but that's not metal.
Well, sheep only come in here when Metal Pete lets them in.
Which is not normal. Not
He-
normally the case.
He was.
He's not metal. To let sheep in the barn.
No.
No.
Oh, we gotta see if you can figure out a way to get the sheep to come in.
Oh, man,
when Pete's here, so we can get it on
we need-
camera.
Yeah, I really wish that was filmed. That was really funny.
See, it was only one sheep, right? We gotta
only
get,
one-
we gotta
one
get,
wandered in,
we
and
gotta get all the sheep.
I swear he like dropped the gold line to go get that sheep out of here. Like,
That's biblical.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
So, anyhow, so Pete's very good at metal work, but as you guys know with Pete, I think his level of perfection varies. So he'd gotten it to pretty good, but the blade itself he got it so all the places that got bent were corrected, but the blade itself was no longer straight. So I said, I think I can figure that out and straighten out the blade. And so I monkeyed with it for a little bit, and I got it a little bit better. And I showed it to him, and then I was like, I think I can get it a little bit better than this. And I monkeyed with it a little bit more, and then I ruined it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh. So then he had to go back to 0 and start again, and then hand it back to me. And this time I knew where to stop.
Right.
But I should have just stopped when I first started messing with it, and I got it better than he had it.
No, I'm bad about that too.
You know exactly what I mean.
Yep. You overdo it, and then you're back to square one before you know it.
Yeah, and so it ended up working. I think our end result was probably better than any of the starting places.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, in terms of it was probably after I fixed it, wrecked it, and then fixed it again. It was better than after the first fix. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
The
Second
net
round.
the net result was the best possible option. But yeah, that definitely happened where Pete was done with it, and I was like, well, I think I can get a little better, and then I did, and I said, well, I think I can get a little better still.
Yeah.
And then I think because when you're trying to straighten out a blade, I think I ended up
You bend one thing and it messes up.
yeah.
something else, the metal
So then he had
functions.
to, yeah. So he was a good sport about it though, about undoing my mistake. And like I said, the result of it ended up with a
Yeah.
all we gotta do is touch up. If you guys want to know where it was bent, just look where the paint is missing.
Yeah.
And
that's where it got bent. You could see the ladder hit the tip, and it actually sheared one of the bolts.
okay, well, we're gonna do test rig now.
Oh yeah, let's do.
Where do you think it's gonna start?
I'm gonna say 2.
I'm gonna say
really
5.
Generous.
Well, if we're doing Price is Right rules, I'm saying 3, but I actually think it's gonna start around 5.
Okay. All right. Let's see. 1, 2. No. 3.
Okay, well, I'm glad I amended mine to 3.
All right.
I'm surprised it starts at 3, though. I'll tell you why. So there was a scrapbooking store in an old strip mall. The strip mall is still there. I think the scrapbooking store is long gone. And I don't remember what was there before. But before the scrapbooking store was there, it was all one unit, and there was some big store there, and they had a bunch of these and a bunch of the cast ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever business put the fans in left, the The scrapbooking store had the storefront with the stamped ones, and then the daycare had the ones with the cast ones. And I kept trying to get the cast fans, but the daycare wouldn't talk to me because at the time I didn't have any cast Daytons and I wanted some bad.
Right.
But I used to go in and mess with the ones in the scrapbooking store because of course scrapbooking store is open to the public.
Right.
So I would just go in there and I would find the controls. I would mess with them.
Yeah. Right.
And they had those controls that were like 510. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a clear knob with a brass inset and it's just 2 speeds, and everybody's seen them.
Oh yeah.
And low on those controls, which was 5.
Stall out.
It didn't stall, but it was like it was the slowest possible aesthetic low. It was the is it moving speed.
Right.
And so of course I used to leave them on that speed because I'm like, the scrapbook store's not even going to notice that they're on.
Right.
And apparently they did, because every time I'd come back they'd be off.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back again and turn them back to low, and then I'm sure they got tired of me. 'Cause I don't scrapbook. I never bought any scrapbooking supplies. This is before videos, otherwise I would have made a video there.
Right. So all right, so we're up to 6 right now. I mean, it's so
still pretty slow.
Yeah.
I have a feeling.
7.
Is this going to be a crunch? Because it seems like 8 might be a little fast.
8's gonna be a little fast, I think.
Well, he likes a fast low for industrials
here's
because the grocery store.
Well, it doesn't move any air.
Yeah.
So that's 8 right now. So
I mean, that's not a terrible low. I wouldn't mind a little slower than that, but it's not a terrible low.
Yeah, I would want them slower personally, but yeah, I mean that's not unreasonable. Here's 9. I always like that really defined sideband on these things too. I mean, it's literally like an entire piece that's on.
Yeah, the cast ones have that too, and the Emerson version.
Yeah, no, that's been kind of a thing.
That's a thing that I think Weatherite started, and then Leading Edge made it one of their trademarks because
even like those LaFans had them, didn't they? They had that really like thick.
Yeah, that's what I meant by the Emerson versions.
Yeah, okay, this is up.
And Sonators have them.
Yep. All right, let's go to 11.
I don't know. Pete might be onto something.
12. Just skips all of them except for 8, 12, and 20.
He really does.
I did. Well, he goes through them all, but he was really quick through the other ones.
He does not care about the other ones.
I'm like, slow down, hold on. For me, the test rig is 13.
Crunch.
The most important thing is where does it start, where's a good low speed, and does it have any resonant frequencies? Like those are the most important things in my opinion. But
I would agree.
14.
I mean, for me, really, the most important thing is where does it start, and and how high can you go before you lose any. Either you hit a resonant frequency or it just is the same as high.
Yeah, it's not neat.
Because like you're only if you're using capacitors for speed controls, you're limited on your options. Even if you're making your own control,
16.
You still need 2 that are going to play together, because if it's a 4-speed control, it's only using 2 values.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
17.
Still got a ways to go.
18.
Crunch.
19. And 20. Here's 20.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to just throw it into high and see if it... Yeah?
Still a noticeable difference.
Definitely noticeable difference. Okay, so that I did a high switch temporarily, so yeah, you could use an 8, 12, 20 on this.
You going to hang this anywhere? Put it in your bedroom?
Oh, man, I'm going to be freezing.
Yeah, wouldn't need all those vintage air conditioners.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, I'm going to fly away.
It would look more appropriate in your living room than the bedroom,
Yeah,
honestly.
Honestly, yeah, I would probably, if anything, possibly the living room temporarily.
Can't get your dad to put a fan in his garage?
Oh, I tried. I wish. I might sneak a socket fan in there. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, that's
because they have. Well, there's one light socket in there. I was like,
yeah.
But
I
probably wouldn't even notice.
Why not? Yeah, you have a Dayton Lasco, right?
I do.
That'd be a good fan for your dad's garage.
Desperately needs like a lot of
Totally Awesome,
or just a repaint. I'm kind of leaning toward the latter.
Yeah, the Awesome can only do so much.
It's like literally like brown.
Now that would be a fan I'd like to see in your
place
in your living room.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you seen? I put the video on Patreon, but I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the video of the updated install in my bedroom?
Oh yeah, the Dayton, the double Daytons. Yeah, that is very
I
cool.
like it so much more than I thought I would.
That it works.
It somehow works. I didn't think it would. And I don't know if it was you or Skylar or somebody when I talked about doing 13. It. Somebody said, "Well, why don't you put 2 brown ones?" And I honestly think, despite the fact that everything in there is brown and wood, and that I like to lean into that, I honestly think the white ones work better.
This is 25. What was it, John? On high
like 0.73, 74, somewhere around there.
We're getting somewhat close. Here's 26.
Crunch.
I'm just gonna start skipping now. 29, 30. 32. It's probably gonna just. Yeah, I think. So it's like going up by nose hair.
Nose
That's
hair.
maxed out. Yeah. So
Metal.
it does not go over. That's good.
So what control would you use it on? I mean, I guess honestly, if you're not going to do an 81220, then probably a 5, 10, 15.
I like slower speeds just because that's what I usually use more often. So 4711 or 510 15, I'd say.
How does it do on the solid state? Hey, were you here when we tested the cast version of this?
No, I missed that one.
Oh well, I don't know. I don't know that we'd have time, but I've got plenty of those cast ones to test. So if not tonight, then sometime we should throw one of those up.
That's a nice, easy one.
Yeah. Well, that's the one Pete and I already tested.
Right.
But there's another cast one over there that's.
Yeah, that's one of the ones we brought.
Yeah.
Yeah, from it.
But then there's another one over there that hasn't been tested yet.
Well, let's see how we're doing on times. I mean,
Yeah.
we might have time for 2 more. We'll see.
Okay, I'm down.
On solid state, I feel like these get put on solid states.
They do,
but I don't. I'm gonna say bedroom quiet.
Okay, I'll say living room
quiet.
quiet. I would silent would sure be nice, but I don't. I'd be.
That's the worst of it. Wow, that's actually better than I ever thought.
I'm damn near silent. I hear some buzzing in the background. Is that
It could. The original might be some of it.
and the Mercury? Do me a favor. Let's turn off everything. Leave the fan on.
Oh, okay.
Turn on all the incandescent lights and turn off all the fluorescent lights and use the light stick to turn off the outside light.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Really? You haven't used that before? I swear that's how we always did it.
oh, I thought we ran.
Maybe that's just me and Pete.
Thought we ran up there and turned it off.
Turn off these fluorescents.
I don't hear anything over here.
I'm gonna set it back to 0. You want to turn on? If you have any more lights, turn on the lamps, the lanterns, and might as well turn the other lanterns all the way out. Well, that's up to you. Makes a big difference. So I'm just letting it slow down, so we're hearing less wind noise.
Right. I can only hear wind noise over there. I mean, yeah.
I'm comfortable calling that silent.
Yeah, I'll do that silent.
Which is interesting because my parents' church has 3 of these in brown, or maybe 4.
They buzz like crazy.
You can hear them.
Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. That's really fun.
You can hear it. It's not literally silent, but it was so like the hum I thought was coming from the fan was coming from one of the lights.
Yeah, I mean it is a little bit.
Yeah, I guess maybe the reason why you can hear them in my parents' church is because there's 4 of them, and it's an acoustically.
Yeah.
It's not it's a church building that's designed to be acoustically live.
Right.
Which I was gonna say, unlike GMS, but GMS is also a church building that's designed to be acoustically live, and they'd be better off if it wasn't. They'd be better off if it was acoustically dead. Okay. Well, let's thank our sponsors, Fanstick Lights. You might as well turn all the lights on for between the videos, since we're done
Right.
at the end of the video at this point.
Well, we know this is high-end work test given that bottle.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is as metal as I would have.
Not metal. I don't know if it's 0 metal. I don't know if it's auto-tune, but it's probably 5-finger death punch.
It's not real great though.
No, he the way to tell the metal test without telling the metal test is, does he care if we test it without him?
Right. Yeah.
Unless it's something like, I don't think if he cares if we test the Rick blenders without him because there's so many.
Right.
Whereas if it was just one, he'd want to be here. But if there's only 1 or 2 of something, does he care if we test it without him? And he did not care about this. So
But Pete's a good friend, and
he was very nice to work on that blade. Spent quite a bit of time on it, and definitely got it running good.
Yeah, I guess we'll thank our sponsors.
Yes, Fan Stick, Light Stick, Florida Fan Stick, which is 69% longer and harder than regular Fan Stick. Taco Burrito Mexico, the Good Manufacturing Company, Rick or Sheep the Game,
Oh,
Sperry.
I forgot to attach the reverse wire.
Oh, you will? Yeah, let's do it in reverse. Why not?
Well, yeah, we could just do 0 I in reverse since that is kind of a cool gimmick on this one. Shoot.
I mean, you gonna move the other ladder?
No, I'm gonna just drop it a little bit.
Okay. Fan stick, light stick, Taco Burrito Mexico, Ricker Sheep the Game, Sperry, the Drink of Fan Collectors, the Good Manufacturing Company. Yeah, if there are more sponsors,
Is it off?
yes. I had to look to see that you put it. So just switch the black and the red.
Exactly. I think these actually they offered a control that had a switch on it.
And all it is a SPDT. It's the same as like a 3-way light switch. It's just it's one or the other.
I mean, as you can see, all I'm doing is literally just switching one wire over.
Yep. Reversible gold lines have the same feature, although it's pretty useless.
Yeah, and see on a gold line, really any curved blade industrial, it's not going to do much.
Yeah, unless you flip the blades with the.
Right, which half the time people don't do it or don't do it right, and then.
Yeah.
So. Let's do it zero. At least let's do
0 to high.
Yep, on reverse. Oh, you did. Oh.
We gonna attack it. Let's turn on those wall lights.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm glad we did the wall lights. They make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard a beep. You adjusted the.
I turned the socket fans back on.
Oh, why'd you turn them off? Oh, because they might make sound.
Yeah, they hummed a little bit.
Draws less in reverse.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let me do
And it actually seemed to have a bit of an inrush in reverse.
a 860.
That's definitely less.
Interesting. Okay.
It could simply be the way it may be the coils or it could be the blades. It could just
Also,
be.
I just cranked all the HIDs too,
Oh, that's a good point. We're actually
so the voltage might have dropped a tad.
we're at 120 volts surprisingly.
Oh, okay.
I wonder why, because a lot of times with all the lights on, we have voltage drop, but not right now.
I mean, clearly it moves good air in reverse when it's moving the gold line above.
Do me a favor, turn those fans on. I want to see if that's a factor in the voltage drop. Nope, hit those two switches there. Not much of one.
Huh.
Interesting. Yeah, sometimes maybe it's just other things outside this building besides us. I don't know, because normally with all the lights on, the voltage drops to like 114 in here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the panel that feeds this space feeds other things, so it could be completely independent of us. Yeah. Okay. Well, as always, patreon.com/dspiffy for more content. There is, in fact, more content on there, Rick. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. No.
I feel like people don't believe me that there's stuff.
No, there is. Like I said, there's some stuff that wasn't going to go public for one reason or another, and probably never will. I mean, it's like if you want to see some like real raw footage, I mean, it's there. Youth Center is the one that comes to mind because like I said, I know there's stuff that is not public about Youth Center.
There's definitely, that's true, but there's definitely some stuff that's not public about the barn and will never be public. Yeah, definitely lots of things. Did you turn the outside light back on?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, well, as always, thanks for watching, and continue to support our sponsors. And how can they do that, Rick?
In this case, by Lightstick.
By Lightstick and Fanstick. Thanks for watching.